Right now, two mysterious objects are moving through our solar system at the same time, and scientists are starting to think that might not be a coincidence. What if they didn't arrive here separately by chance? What if the appearance of C2026 A1, a comet nobody can fully explain, and 3I Atlas, an interstellar object with 22 documented anomalies in the same solar system in the same narrow window of time, is telling us something we're not ready to hear? Harvard's top astrophysicist is already asking that question out loud. And on April 4th, 2026, a comet is going to fly through the sun's corona at 346 miles per second. And whatever it's made of, the sun is about to rip it open and show us. Subscribe to Space Aquarius and let's begin. While the world was focused on 3I Atlas, a completely separate object was quietly discovered on January 13th, 2026 from the Amex 1 observatory in Chile. It's called C2026A1, also known as MAPS, and it is heading directly toward the sun. On April 4th, 2026, C2026 A1 will pass within 100,040 miles of the sun's surface. That's just 23% of the solar radius. It will reach a peak speed of 346 miles per second as it whips around our star. It will then make its closest approach to Earth on April 5th, 2026, passing within 89 million miles of our planet. Now, sun-grazing objects aren't unheard of. There's a well-known family of them called the Kreutz group, fragments of a comet that broke apart long ago, all following similar paths around the sun. Scientists initially filed C2026A1 under that category and moved on. But the data resisted that tidy label. Here's what doesn't fit. The orbital period of C2026A1 is nearly 1,900 years. The longest orbital period of any confirmed Kreutz group member is less than half that. It was detected 81 days before perihelion at a distance of more than 186 million miles from the sun. No previously known Kreutz comet has ever been spotted that far out, that early. That kind of early detection at that distance suggests either unusual size or extraordinary outgassing activity, neither of which fits the standard Kreutz profile. And then there's the brightness. C2026 A1 is currently running at around magnitude 9.9, dramatically brighter than models predicted for this stage of its approach. There is no satisfying conventional explanation for why it is brightening this aggressively this early. Its orbital inclination is 144.5 degrees. For reference, 3I Atlas has an orbital inclination of 175.1 degrees. That's a difference of 30.6 degrees. Close enough to raise eyebrows, but too far apart to confirm any direct relationship. Loeb himself has examined whether C2026A1 could be a fragment that broke off 3I Atlas and got captured into a bound solar orbit. His conclusion is that it's probably not. The size and inclination difference make a direct connection unlikely. But here's what he doesn't rule out. C2026A1 may belong to a yet unknown group of comets, objects gravitationally bound to the sun but following orbital paths that don't match any family we've ever cataloged. It may represent an entirely new class of solar system object. And the fact that it appeared in our skies within months of 3I Atlas from a broadly similar region of the sky is a coincidence that serious scientists are not dismissing outright. Now let's talk about what happens on April 4th, because this is where things get remarkable. When C2026A1 passes through the solar corona, the heat will be extraordinary. Any solid surface will begin to vaporize, and that vaporization is actually an opportunity because it will expose the object's interior composition in a way that's impossible to observe under normal conditions. The Inouye Solar Telescope in Hawaii and the SOHO spacecraft will both be watching. What they find in that superheated gas cloud could tell us more about where C2026A1 actually came from than months of standard observation ever could. From Earth, we'll be able to watch this happen in real time through the SOHO satellite's LASCO coronagraph. The comet enters the wide field view on April 2nd, swings around the sun on April 4th, and if it survives, exits the narrow field camera around 1 a.m. Eastern Time on April 6th. Nobody knows if it's going to survive. French optical engineer Nicolas Lefaudu has modeled 4 possible outcomes. In the worst case, the comet breaks apart before it even reaches the sun's field of view, just like Comet Ison did back in 2013. In the best case, it emerges on April 7th with a tail stretching 10 to 30 degrees across the sky. Potentially the most spectacular comet visible from Earth in decades, bright enough to see with the naked eye low in the western sky after sunset. The James Webb Space Telescope already photographed this object on February 7th, 2026. Researchers estimated the nucleus at approximately a quarter of a mile across, roughly the length of 4 city blocks. That's similar in size to Comet Lovejoy, which survived its solar encounter in 2011 and briefly became a stunning naked-eye object. So, survival is possible, but researcher Chicheng Zhang, who led the Webb analysis, pointed out that C2026A1 is producing an unusually high level of outgassing, jets of vaporizing ice that can spin the nucleus up like a top and tear it apart before it even gets close. Amateur astronomer Michael Yeager also flagged that this comet is producing very little dust, which is strange because dust is what makes comets visually spectacular. Either the nucleus has developed a hard crust sealing the dust inside, or it's a gas-rich comet that's nearly burned out. Neither explanation is fully satisfying. Here's what the next few weeks actually mean for science. And for you. If C2026A1 survives, we get a chemical fingerprint of its interior. We find out what it's made of, where it likely formed, and whether its chemistry matches anything in our solar system, or points somewhere else entirely. If it doesn't survive, the way it disintegrates will still reveal its internal structure and material strength. Either way, April 4th is a date worth marking on your calendar. We are living through an extraordinary moment in the history of solar system science. In less than 12 months, we've had the most anomalous interstellar object ever recorded pass through our neighborhood. And now a sun-grazing comet that doesn't fit any known category is about to fly through the sun's corona at over 340,000 miles per hour. Scientists don't have all the answers yet, but the data is piling up and every new observation is adding another piece to a puzzle that's getting harder and harder to explain away as coincidence. Watch the SOHO coronagraph feeds on April 4th, follow the Webb telescope updates, and if C2026A1 emerges from behind the sun with a 30-degree tail lighting up the evening sky, you'll want to be outside looking west. If this story has you thinking, hit subscribe, drop a comment below telling us whether you think these two objects are connected, and share this video with someone who loves space. We'll be covering everything as it develops, and you won't want to miss what happens when this comet rounds the sun. This story is just getting started,